Hi, friend. It's your inner child calling. And they want churros. A new toy. And a new adventure. Or maybe 5. With the bestest besties on Earth. Find your moment at Walt Disney World Resort.
At Lowe's, our members get more. With the My Lowe's Rewards programs, you can shop member-only deals for your home and business every week. Plus, members earn points on eligible purchases. So what are you waiting for? Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change. Free standard shipping not available in Alaska and Hawaii. Exclusions and more terms apply.
Hello, I'm Paloma Moreno Jimenez, an associate producer here at Wonder Media Network, and I'm so excited to be guest hosting this episode of Womanica. This month, we're talking about architects. These women held fast to their visions for better futures, found potential in negative space, and built their creations from the ground up. Spanning over 6,000 feet, a steel colossus hangs high above New York City's East River. Day by day, it carries over 100,000 vehicles and 30,000 pedestrians between Manhattan and Brooklyn. At completion, it was the world's longest suspension bridge. But there was a moment during construction when its fate hung in the balance. That is, until one woman stepped in to finish the job. Let's meet Emily Warren Roebling. Emily was born in 1843 in Cold Spring, New York, the second youngest of 12 children in an affluent family. Her father was a politician in the New York State Assembly. His wealth allowed Emily to attend Georgetown Visitation, a prestigious all-girls school in Washington, D.C. There, she studied history, astronomy, French and algebra, in addition to housekeeping and needlework. Emily's older brother was a Union Army general during the Civil War. In 1864, Emily went to visit him, and that's where she met Colonel Washington Roebling. Washington was immediately struck by Emily. The two fell in love and were married the next year. Newly hitched, the Roeblings set off to Europe for business. During this trip, Emily gave birth to their only son. Colonel Washington Roebling was a second-generation civil engineer. While he and Emily were in Europe, his father, John Roebling, a renowned architect, was back home designing the Brooklyn Bridge. The couple was sent across the Atlantic to conduct research on caissons. Caissons are watertight structures filled with compressed air. They allow for construction work to be carried out underwater. And in the late 1860s, caissons were revolutionizing bridge development. The bridge was nothing short of ambitious. A suspension bridge 1.1 miles long, it had never been done before. But the elder Roebling was confident, boasting that the bridge would be the greatest in existence. By 1869, Emily and Washington had returned home from Europe and settled into their new house in Brooklyn Heights, just south of where the bridge was being built. One day, just as construction had gotten underway, John Roebling was standing on the riverside dock, surveying the construction site. As he looked upon what was to become his creation, a ferry arrived to dock and crushed his foot. He developed a tetanus infection from his wounds and died less than a month later. Following his father's sudden death, Washington took over as chief engineer for the bridge project. But building a bridge of this unprecedented scale involved considerable risk, more than its engineers knew. As they built the bridge towers, Washington and his crew spent long hours underwater inside the caissons. Roughly 50 feet below that water surface, Washington toiled away. One day, a fire broke out in the ceiling of one of the caissons. Washington managed to put out the fire, but came away from it with a mysterious illness. As he continued working, his condition worsened and he became partially paralyzed, blind, deaf, and unable to speak. It's said that Washington's mystery illness was actually a case of decompression sickness, or caisson disease, also known today as the bends. Many people who worked to construct the Brooklyn Bridge died as a result of the bends. Washington managed to survive and his mind remained sharp, but he also became incredibly sensitive to bright lights and loud noises. He was unable to visit the construction site in person and mostly confined to his bed from then on. Still, he continued to oversee the bridge construction from home, thanks to Emily. She started off as a secretary, visiting the construction site daily, relaying messages to and from her husband, solving puzzling problems that arose in the process. She attended board meetings, negotiated the supply materials, and oversaw contracts. Historians say that Emily had superb diplomatic skills, which she used to appease pushy parties who tried to strip Emily's husband of his chief engineer title. Washington may have remained chief engineer on paper, but Emily was really the one running the show, although few people knew this. Fearing that her involvement would endanger the Roeblings' contract with the bridge, she kept her involvement secret from the general public. Eventually, her contributions were revealed. In May of 1883, the New York Times lauded Emily. The article reads, "Mrs. Roebling applied herself to the study of engineering, and she succeeded so well that in a short time she was able to assume the duties of chief engineer." But Emily didn't need publicity to know she was great. In a letter to her son, she wrote, "I have more brains, common sense, and know-how generally than have any two engineers, civil or uncivil. And but for me, the Brooklyn Bridge would never have had the name Roebling in any way connected with it." Day after day, Emily's husband peered at the bridge through a telescope and binoculars, watching his wife carry out the family dream. He referred to Emily as a woman of infinite tact and wisest counsel. When the bridge was ready to be tested, Emily had the honor of being the first person to cross. She carried a rooster with her as a symbol of victory. On the evening of May 24, 1883, the Brooklyn Bridge officially opened. The bridge was illuminated with a stunning firework display, and Emily held a reception attended by President Chester A. Arthur. After the Brooklyn Bridge was finished, Emily devoted her time to personal ambitions. In 1899, she earned a women's law course certificate from New York University. The course offered an essay writing contest, and Emily won for her Albany Law Journal piece titled A Wife's Disabilities, which criticized legal limits on women's financial independence and advocated for women's suffrage. Throughout the rest of her life, Emily continued to preach women's rights and give speeches across the country. She died of stomach cancer on February 28, 1903, in Trenton, New Jersey. Her legacy is memorialized today by the Emily Roebling Memorial Plaza, which stands directly under the Brooklyn Bridge. There, visitors can enjoy waterfront views of the city and even ice skate in the winter. On the bridge itself is a plaque honoring all three Roeblings. It reads, "Back of every great work, we can find the self-sacrificing devotion of a woman." All month, we're talking about architects. For more information, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Thanks to co-creators Jenny and Liz Kaplan for letting me host this time. Talk to you tomorrow.
She's seen Encanto more times than she can count. And she can count to 10. She mentioned Mirabel in every conversation. But the moment she actually met Mirabel, she was speechless. That's pura magia. Find yours at Walt Disney World Resort.
5 years, 10 months, and 2 days. That's how long it took to grow the 38 inches to ride on Cali River Rapids. But the moment the wait finally ended, that was pura magia. Discover it at Walt Disney World Resort.
The Unshakables podcast is kicking off season 2 with an episode you won't want to miss. Join host Ben Walter, CEO of Chase for Business, as he welcomes a very special guest, Chairman and CEO of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon. Hear about the challenges facing small businesses and some of the uh-oh moments Jamie has overcome. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. Member FDIC. Copyright 2025. JP Morgan Chase & Company.